So we had one too many raids in my house. We had a Vandal Squad raided us in 2003 in Queens, and then they raided us in 2013.
Really?
Again, with a flimsy warrant, they come to the door, they get in, they take everything we have, and they over our lives. So the last time they came with a SWAT team truck out in front of my house. All our neighbors thought we were the most upstanding citizens. They loved us. Then they see a SWAT team truck out there. Then they see me coming out in handcuffs, and I sit in the car with a policewoman for an hour. But they brought me back inside, and they took off the handcuffs when I promised to play nice. But I had to sit there for 4 hours and watch the police rob me again. They just fill up a van with, this time they took all my spray paint, almost like 1,000 cans of paint. They took that, photo albums, they took my computers this time. They took books off the shelf, artwork off the walls. They just took all they can lift and just to fuck us over. And they took my husband as well with some fake graffiti charges, made up shit. So it took, a very expensive attorney, about a year and a half, to get them to drop the charges, no crime committed. Oh well, they have to give all that stuff back.
But you still went through that.
Yeah, we still had to go to court. He had to go to court. I wasn't charged with anything. I wasn't arrested. He was. But still, they can take all our stuff and mess with us. And this is what they did in 2003 as well. It took over a year to get about 90% of the stuff back. They kept what they wanted. So, again, spending money on an expensive attorney, waiting to be raided. We never kept our stuff in our house because we always expected those fucks to raid us, and they did. But luckily, we never kept anything incriminating in our house ever because of that. They just get flimsy warrants, and they've messed with other artists too. Whoever's got the nerve to prosper and do well at what they perceive as a crime. Anyone who organizes an event, puts out a book, has an exhibit or whatever the hell, they want to come to your door and mess with you and find and do phishing. Finding some kind of crime, anything at all, that your photos, videos, and of anybody doing something illegal, anything they can get you on. So, that's what they did. They drove me out. So as soon as we had that raid, I started looking for houses, and so I got the hell out. And now I live in an area where the Vandal Squad don't have jurisdiction to come and raid my house for no reason at all. They need a little bit more evidence of wrongdoing before they can come and do that. But with that said, a couple of years back, the transit police did come up here and visit us. A couple of detectives drove up just to say hidey ho, we know where you're hiding. When I came up, the streets were not safe, certainly not safe for women, and a whole lot of things was not happening for women. So there was a lot of battling going on and stuff. It's a little bit easier in some areas now for ladies to get involved. But in my time, a lot of sexism, a lot of hostility. I had to fight and claw and get my respect the hard way. So, there's always that. Each era has its drawbacks. New York City was hugely dangerous. I had to, even to just go meet my friends in the middle of the night in the worst neighborhood ever, I had to pack a knife. And I had to pull out that knife and start cleaning my fingernails because guys get too friendly. They get too amorous. They get too clingy. On those long subway rides to the train yards, I had to pack a knife just to scare guys away, and they would just think that I have to be insane. I'm out in the middle of the night packing a knife all by my little self. I have to be insane. So they'd go away. I think because it is an act of rebellion, and rebellion is a necessary thing in our society. Otherwise, it goes stagnant. Otherwise, no one's questioning the status quo and everyone turns into sheep. There has to be rebellion when things and the population and the masses feel that it must be so. And I think that art was taking a terrible direction that the masses did not like. It was just for the elite, for the cultured few. It was becoming a commodity, just like the stock market. It didn't matter what it looked like. It just mattered the artist's career and that the value was going to go up on some piece of crap that they kept in storage because it was too hideous to hang in their own home. So is that art, really? And it's just like, splashes of color that have no meaning. It's just a matter of the artist's career and would the value go up. So, and it isn't a context of what it is. It's just who you know. So the value goes up. And that's not art. And it was only being appreciated by the cultured few, and I mean by the 1% who has the time to go to museums and galleries and frequent these establishments. Certainly my family didn't, just, working class, just trying to make ends meet and such. They did not have time to go to all these establishments and institutions and appreciate fine art in its context where it is. Why can't art be out in the street for the masses, made by the masses? So when the opportunities and the door was not knocking and the money was not rolling in, you got to make your own opportunities. Go out there and knock on doors, make phone calls, talk cold to strangers, walk in a shop and say, I can do some amazing work and increase your business by 50%. So give me all your money. And I'd walk out with a job. I'd be like, oh my God. And then the job would be too big for me. So I'd have to call my friend, make my husband quit his job. He's like, oh my God, bring the whole team out. This is humongous. I don't know what I got myself into. So, make your own opportunities. So for beginning muralists, for beginning artists, go out there and paint a school, a nursery, a old people's home, some needy animal shelter, whatever. Make the news, make the newspaper, that, get your name out there, be seen in a good way. Not in a terrible way, like it took 6 cops to bring him down. He was fighting. No, none of that. But, do some good deed for your community so that, you get your name out there. Learn how to hustle. Learn how to submit your artwork to galleries. Learn how to have a proper resume and all of that kind of stuff if you want to be a successful artist. So there's a lot to learn. But now that with internet, just go out there, but you gotta hustle. You gotta learn how to make your own money. To be a successful artist, it isn't as much as what you're doing. It's also as important that who you know. So you gotta get out there young. Don't waste your time in your youth in art school and racking up a debt for that. But go out there, galleries, meet people, meet other artists, meet gallery collectors and dealers, and get your stuff out there and learn how to go about that, the hard way. Art school isn't going to prepare you nearly as much to be a fine artist. You go in with an original style, you come out with something watered down and diluted. And from what I understand, other professors have told me, not my own professors, but people I know out in the real world and who happen to be professors in universities, they've said that it takes about 10 years to get rid of what art school does to you.
Wow.
So that is literally a thing. Do not let art school mess up your original style. It's really, really hard to hang on to that. Sure, if you need to fine-tune certain mediums, you need to learn ceramics, you want to learn sculpture, you want to learn something like that, take some classes. But to learn fine art, you just got to practice, get a body of work, and hustle your butt. You have to learn to hustle more than actually doing the art. So it's not even 50-50, pretty pictures and business. You got to learn to hustle. You got to learn to have a thick skin, and you got to learn how to take rejection. So, graffiti taught us all of that. Taught us how to be completely distant, still hold your head up high and say, oh, fuck those people. I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do. So I've seen kids from art school come out. The first rejection, they're crushed. They want to kill themselves. They'll never do art again. They're going to go work for McDonald's. Oh my God. They can't take a no for an answer, or you're going to get 30% of the jobs you go for. So just suck it up, pick yourself off the floor, stop crying, and just get out there and apply for your next job. This is said the same thing to actors, musicians, and entertainers. Is you go to a gazillion auditions and maybe you'll get one. So just keep going.